Hi, my name is Lydia, and this is what I've learned so far in Modules 1 through 6. Starting off with Module 1, we discussed the impact of digital technology. In this module, we discussed the evolution of technology, uses for technology, digital divides from technology, and careers in technology. So, we began by discussing the history of computers. A computer is an electronic device that operates under the control of instructions stored in memory. There's first generation and second generation computers. The main difference is first generations have vacuum tubes and second generations have transistors. Moving on, we talked about connecting through computers. To connect through computers, you can use email, network, Wi-Fi, cloud computing, Bluetooth, a bunch of different options. Then we discussed the impact of the Internet of Things. So this is an environment where processors are embedded in everything. It allows for communication with other devices. There's embedded computers, smart devices. All of these are very important. So this is used everywhere. The Internet of Things is in ATMs, kiosks, when you're tracking your exercise activity, on Apple Watches, just like how I have on right now, tracking business inventory, sending prescription updates, sending messages. All of this uses the Internet of Things. Next, we discussed being a digital citizen. So, as we just talked about, technology is everywhere. It is used in our daily lives. Some examples are waking up to your alarm, using your coffee maker, listening to music. All of that uses technology. We then talked about technology accessibility. So, this is what's going to remove those barriers that may prevent individuals with disabilities from using technology. Next, we have to apply green computing concepts. This is going to reduce electricity consumed and environmental waste generated. This is very important when using technology. Moving forward, we discuss careers in technology. This is a field that provides opportunities for people of all interests and skill levels. There are a bunch of different options. We have software and apps, which my dad's actually in, technology equipment, IT departments, technology education, web marketing, data storage, many different options. Continuing, we talked about the digital divide. This is the gap between those who can access technology and those who cannot, showing us that technology is not available to everyone. The digital divide is a work in progress. Corporations, nonprofits, governments, a bunch of different people are working towards narrowing this divide. Alrighty, moving on to Module 2. This module discussed the web. We talked about the role of the web, websites and web pages, search tools, and e-commerce. Starting off, we're going to talk about the internet and the web. The internet is a global connection of millions of computers linked together in order to share information. The web is a collection of web pages on computers that is connected through the internet. Next, we have web browsing. So, a web page is an electronic document, while a website is a collection of web pages. We have search tools as well. So these tools are designed to find results based off of an entered search term or phrase. This is going to include engines, search boxes, web directories. Something to consider. Make sure that the sites you are using can be trusted. This brings us to secure versus insecure websites. You want to make sure that a website is secure in order to make sure your information is safe. To do this, use encryption. Look for the HTTPS in the URL. You look for a digital certificate. It's very important, especially when it comes to e-commerce. On to e-commerce. E-commerce is business transactions on an electronic network. There are 3 different types: business to consumer, consumer to consumer, and business to business. Now we have Module 3, hardware and processors. This module focused on input, output, peripheral devices, storage devices, processing components, memories, and what you should consider when you want to buy a computer. Different types of devices. We have input devices, which communicates instructions and commands to a computer, output devices, which convey information from the computer to the user, and peripheral device, which is a device that can connect to and extend the capability of devices. Moving forward, we have our storage devices, hard drives, external hard drives, cloud storage, memory cards, USB flash drives. These are all used to store our information. Next, we have our processing components. The central processing unit is what converts that input into meaningful output. Then we have the arithmetic logic unit, which is going to perform arithmetic operations in the central processing unit. Next, we have memory. Memory is what is responsible for holding the data and programs being processed by the central processing unit. There's volatile memory, non-volatile memory, random access memory, and read-only memory. In order to find the right computer for you, you should consider these things before purchasing. What platform you need, what hardware you need, the form factor you want, the amount of money you're willing to spend, and any system requirements you may need. This is something I considered when purchasing my computer for college, as I knew in this class a Dell would be more compatible with the software we use. Moving on to Module 4, we discussed operating systems and file management. In this module, we talked about system software and operating systems, features of operating systems, classifying operating systems, types of operating systems, files and folders, and the boot process. Starting off with system software and operating systems, system software is the software that runs a computer, while an operating system is a program that manages the complete operation of your device. This allows for interactions and also can be called a platform. Some features of operating systems. These features provide a way for you to interact with your device. We have graphical user interface and natural user interface. You can personalize your operating systems. They come with default settings, but you can customize them and create shortcuts. Next, we have classifying operating systems. So, operating systems all differ on purpose, manufacturer, development, and form factor of the device. You can classify them as software as a service, a closed source, and open source. Next, we have our types of operating systems. There are many different types of operating systems: single user operating systems, desktop operating systems, mobile operating systems, and server operating systems. Moving forward, we have files and folders. A file is a collection of information stored on your computer, while folders are a name location on a storage medium that contains related documents. You want to be sure to protect both your files and your folders, save them in the cloud, regularly back them up, use encryption, and you can also install apps to scan for viruses. Lastly, we discussed the boot process in this module. This is a series of steps and checks the computer does as it loads the operating system. This happens as soon as you turn on your computer. Next, we have Module 5, App Use. This module discussed apps, types of apps, and app categories. To start us off, we're going to talk about apps. Apps are programs that help you perform specific tasks when using your device. Software, program, and app can be used interchangeably, so don't get confused with that. Another thing to remember, everything you do on your device requires an app. We have different types of apps. We have native apps, which can also be called local apps, mobile apps, web apps, portable apps. Here's something to know. Desktop installed versions of apps generally provide the most complete and advanced capabilities. Web, mobile, and portable versions of apps are generally simpler, lightweight, and contain the most basic and popular features. However, some apps are available both as a web app and a native app. Alrighty, moving forward, we have additional app categories. There is personal interest apps, communication apps, device management apps, productivity apps, spreadsheet apps. Here's some more. Presentation apps, database apps, graphic apps, paint apps, photo editing apps, drawing apps. There are a bunch of different types of apps for everything that you could think of. That leads us to our final module, Module 6, which discussed cybersecurity and safety. Personally, this is my favorite module. I found all of this information really interesting to learn about. We discussed cybersecurity, the importance of it, attackers, cyber attackers, data collection, risks and hazards of using technology, authentication, data backup, and anti-malware software. To start us off, I'm going to define cybersecurity. Cybersecurity is the practices, processes, and technologies used to protect devices, networks, and programs that process and store data in an electronic form. In simple terms, it's everything you do to keep your device and data safe. So we're going to talk about attackers. Threat actor is actually the formal term used to describe an individual responsible for launching cyber attacks. Attacker is the informal term. There are many different types. We have cyber criminals, script kiddies, brokers, cyber terrorists, hacktivists, and state actors. There's two main types of cyber attacks. We have malware attacks and social engineering attacks. Malware attacks are attacks that use software that enter a device without the user's knowledge, while social engineering attacks is an attempt to trick the victim into giving valuable information to the attacker. Here's some different types of malware attacks. We have ransomware, keylogger, Trojan, virus, and here's some ways to prevent malware. We have anti-malware software that can combat various malware attacks to protect files. This includes antivirus software, intrusion prevention, reputation protection, and behavioral protection. Continuing on, we have our types of social engineering attacks. We have phishing and typo squatting. Next, we're going to talk about data collection. So, a data trail is a digital record of your activity. Everyone leaves one behind. Trackers are what collects this digital data and allows those third parties to collect your data with an app. That's why you see those adware popping up. Adware is not necessarily bad. It just comes from these trackers. Moving forward, we do have some technology hazards. Physical hazards, behavioral hazards, and environmental hazards are all things that we should consider when using our devices. Next, we have authentication, another really important thing. Authentication is the process of ensuring that the person requesting access to a device is not an imposter. The one thing with authentication is the more secure something is, tends to be less and less convenient. Lastly, we have data backup. This is a copy of a file or message that is stored in another location for safekeeping. This is what's going to protect us against those cyber attacks. We have continuous cloud backup, automatic continuous backup, universal access, optional program file backup, and delayed deletion. Alrighty, thank you for watching what I've learned so far in modules 1 through 6. I got all of my information from the class slideshows and the Cengage readings. Thanks again.